Errol Spence is not fighting Jaron Boots Ennis, says Mr. Kenny Porter. Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, Kenny Porter has an interview with Fight Hype, and he says, quote, "No, he's not going to fight him," meaning Errol fighting Boots. I'm dropping the mic right there. The question was to Kenny Porter if Errol Spence will fight Jaron Boots Ennis, if Boots Ennis beats his mandatory, the Karen guy, on the Gervonta Davis card. Kenny Porter follows up by saying Errol Spence is at a level where he can make some decisions that Jaron Ennis can't make at this point. He hasn't got there yet, so no, they're not going to fight. It's not going to happen. And he says he was going to favor the big dog, whatever that means, you know. And he says that he likes Jaron Ennis. He says, I'm sold, but I still want to see it. It's like when you buy a new car and it looks good in the showroom and you drive it home nice and easy, but you still want to put it on that highway. I'm definitely sold, but I want to see Jaron Ennis put his foot on the gas pedal. So that's from Kenny Porter. My thoughts, you know, I agree with him. I don't think the fight's going to happen. I think actually since we're being honest and candid, I think boxing media is looking real bad and real watered down lately. And you see a rehashing of all the same questions over and over and over. And I don't think that's good journalism or good boxing, like to the point where we'll have fights that are good fights and, you know, teachable moments so fans can learn about a fighter, and literally all the questions will be about somebody else. And that's just not, to me, I try to live not too high, not too low, but perfectly in the center. And to me, that's not really realistic. Like, for example, Boots Ennis and Rashidi Ellis, right? That's a great future fight, no doubt about it. But people get so hyped on such a great future fight that they forget the present and they forget the upcoming. Rashidi has an opponent, and I think he's only been beaten once, or he hasn't been beaten. He has a high knockout percentage. And Jaron Ennis has a guy who said he's not coming to lay down. He's coming from the Ukraine or whatever. He's a ranked person in the mandatory. Like, we got to take one step at a time. And all the questions are about Boots fighting Errol, Boots fighting Charlo, Boots fighting Terrence Crawford, Boots versus Rashidi Ellis. Anytime anyone sees Rashidi Ellis, the question's not about your upcoming opponent, not about other things. It's about, oh, are you going to fight Boots? And to me, it just gets drawn out. And it's just, again, it's like boxing media, they get ahead of themselves and just regurgitate the same things. That's my truest thoughts. And I might have to end my retirement and start hitting these fights up again. You guys let me know in the comment section if that's what y'all want. But, you know, I got to show these young whippersnappers and different people how it's done and put out that quality content that you guys want. But that's just my honest opinion. You know, I agree with Kenny Porter. I think boxing fans are like almost gluttons for punishment. What do I mean? Because we see bad scorecards from judges. We see premature stoppages and bad refereeing. And we endure this, and then people get frustrated in the moment and say, oh, I'm so angry, I'm not watching boxing anymore. And then we get over it. Like, let's say Canelo Triple G won. A lot of people were disgusted with Adelaide Bird's scorecard. Adelaide Bird's been on judging and been a judge for several fights since then, and people just kind of get over it, right? So I think boxing fans are a glutton for punishment. Another example of this would be, you look at the fighters like Rashidi Ellis and Boots. They were talking kind of spicy, which I'm not mad at them. They're the fighters, so you're supposed to protect your front, protect your brand, and you're a fighter. That's what you do. You know what I mean? But people get ahead of themselves and get so hyped because they did it. You know, it's cool to see, but they egg it on like almost like we're in high school. That's what the internet is, one big high school. And they egg it on, and then they get ahead of themselves to the point where all the questions are now about Rashidi Ellis. All the questions for Boots are about future fights with Errol or Charlo. And that's kind of the nature of it. So many people are trying to force the topic or force the issue and get the click that it's watering down the boxing questioning. I said that to say this. Again, I agree with Kenny Porter. People keep talking about Boots and Errol Spence, and Errol got 120 days. Errol ain't got I don't believe that for one moment, because look at it. I mean, just look throughout. That's why I said a lot of boxing fans are gluttons for punishment, because they play this like rigmarole and act like they don't know the vibes and the politics and everything that goes on in boxing, and then they get hyped. Like, for example, you look at the WBC. WBC, they'll do a convention. They'll order whatever fights that they want, and some of them fights we still ain't seen. You know, they could tell you that, oh, Canelo got to fight Benavidez, or, you know, they say that Dillian White a couple years ago that he was ordered to fight against Luis King Kong Ortiz. How many of them fights actually have happened? You know, to this day, Wilder voice, how many of them fights have happened? So again, boxing fans are a glutton for punishment. They get hyped up and hear announcements or Twitter wars, and they almost think it's reality without putting into perspective Cold Wars, the political landscape, boxing politics, etc. So I really agree with Kenny Porter, because a lot of people, it's not just what you want to see. Like, for example, and when I say this is going to be controversial, but if you know, you know. Errol and Jaron Ennis is an amazing fight. I'm a fan of both of the fighters. I respect both of the fighters, you know. But at the same time, just like Errol Spence had to work his way up to finally get Kell Brook, Jaron Boots Ennis got to do the same thing. And that's what he's trying to do. And I'm not knocking that. And I respect that, and I respect his team for moving him. But it's just the reality of it. You know, Keith Thurman, he at a point in time, he was, before Errol Spence, he was that dude. And he was calling out Floyd. He never fought Floyd. He never got the Mayweather fight. But he had to keep working his way up the ladder, and then the big fights came. Then he got Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. You know, he got the big fight with Pacquiao. I want to, my promoter, That's how it happens. That's how it works. So we have to understand this is truly a competitive sport, but it's more so, it's also a business. So things got to align. Things got to make sense. Jaron Ennis, I don't even know if he's with Al Heyman. I don't think at this moment he's actually signed to Al Heyman. So, you know, you got to look at from a business perspective. A lot of times advisors, promoters and stuff, they're not going to put the fight, if they don't have no options on one guy and it's a risky fight or the other guy could win, then the fight might not happen just based on that. Like, for example, you can't, if Devin Haney is undisputed and he got all the belts, or let's say Lomachenko's undisputed, they're not going to put Lomachenko in there with Tank Davis and then Tank Davis to have no options on him. And if Tank knocks out Lomachenko, then he just moves on and goes back to Al Heyman and PBC, because then now you're stuck with the loss, and you have to rebuild your fighter with no belts, fresh off a knockout. Lomachenko's 35, 36 years old, etc. Right? So these are the things that happen in boxing. You know, Errol Spence and Jaron Ennis, until Ennis commits to PBC like exclusively, he might not get a lot of those big names. I'm just telling you how the game works. You know, that's a part of it. You know, you could say the rankings, but at the same time, things come up. Errol Spence got in a car accident, or so-and-so was injured, or Errol Spence could decide to move up in weight, which he's already talked about for years. So we really don't know. And I'm not saying this to crush Jaron Boots Ennis' dream, because at the end of the day, I firmly believe you shouldn't stagnate your career based on any one fighter. Truly, I get it. You want to get certain fights. I mean, Amir Khan is a great example of a fighter who did this to a fault. Amir Khan spent so much certain prime years stalking Floyd Mayweather, and he never got the Floyd Mayweather fight. And then he also said he would fight Pacquiao, never got the Pacquiao fight. So you wasted actual time in your career where you could have been each. You know, you could have been fighting whoever else, other guys, and you didn't fight those guys, chasing a couple big fights. And then you finally settled on Canelo, but he fought you under his terms, again, boxing politics, and destroyed you at 155 pounds, which was a foolish fight for Amir Khan. You got to understand what I'm saying. So boxing, it's a business. There's politics. You guys can not believe me, not believe Kenny Porter. It don't matter to me. I'm still going to make the same content, but I know what I'm talking about. And y'all wake me up when Errol Spence and Jaron Ennis fight. I don't see that, because I could go so much deeper. There's other things like Keith Thurman is a great MC. He's only lost one time to Pacquiao, and he's been built for longer. So if he's going to fight someone at 47, Errol Spence would probably fight him, because guess what? It's a bigger fight. And don't tell me about boxing fans, because I'm not talking about hardcore boxing fans, because when we're talking about hardcore boxing fans, there's only but so many. There's probably 250, 350,000 max hardcore boxing fans that watch everything. And I'm talking about fights with Regis Prograis and Steve McKenna or whoever that dude was, and Zapata fights and Baron Chunk fights and little fights and smaller fight cards, right? So that being said, Jaron Ennis got to keep doing what he's doing, keep growing, keep building, keep looking sensational, and then the big fights will come. But that's just how it always operates. So I definitely agree with Porter here, because there's just so many options for Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford, move up to 54, Keith Thurman. Jaron Ennis is probably, he's in the same position Errol was in with Kell Brook. But the only difference is Kell Brook literally didn't really have many options, and Errol was still beating on that, barking up that tree. So Kell Brook, and he was a mandatory, Kell Brook really had to fight him. You know what I mean? And Kell Brook tried to say the same thing, like, oh, I was going to move out of the division and move up in weight. And then, he had fought Golovkin and then end up losing to Errol Spence. So we'll see how it all plays out. I know what I know. If you guys relate and understand what I'm saying in this video, then leave me a comment. If you don't, leave me a comment either way. And I'm out. A lot of people ask me what I use to create content. Things like YouTube thumbnails that generate thousands of views. For the first time ever, the cat is out of the bag. I use Canva Pro. But Canva Pro is so much more than a YouTube thumbnail maker. Use Canva Pro to curate content for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Instagram Stories, and a whole lot more. Flyers, flowcharts, you name it, with Canva Pro. Click the affiliate link in the description to get Canva Pro. Many features, elements available to you. Take your brand to the next level. Invest in yourself. It takes money to make money. So sign up for Canva Pro today. Happy creations. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.